And now we have another challenge, and that is that a lace applique is quite thin. And when you make a mold, you need a certain thickness in order to create a cavity in the mold. This lace is not thick enough to do that. And so we actually have to back this lace so that we can get a thickness that will make a good mold. Now I do that with safety clay. Safety clay is a non-drying, non-toxic clay that you can use over and over again in your mold making projects. What you can do is you soften the safety clay just by kneading it. And then I like to take something like this plastic I just cut from a plastic bag. Saran wrap is too thin. What I like to do is I just make it kind of thin, and I sandwich it in between two sheets of plastic. And then what you want to do is you want to roll this out. Now, my goal when I'm making a lace mold, I like to roll it out to about 1/8 of an inch thick. And when you're rolling clay or cookie dough or anything in between two sheets of plastic, what happens is that there's kind of a tension, a surface tension that builds up. So periodically what you want to do is remove the plastic from both sides, and then you'll find that the clay rolls out very, very easily. So you're going to roll out your safety clay to the thickness that you decide you want to make it. Here's an example of some safety clay that I rolled out, and it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. We're going to take our lace that's been sealed with Seal It, and we want to make sure that we're using the top side, and we're going to place it right down on our safety clay. Now, this is probably one of the most important steps in making the mold. You don't want to push the lace onto the clay so hard that it becomes level with the surface of the clay. The lace actually has to be riding on top of the clay, but you have to have 100% contact. So what I'm doing is I'm just pressing the lace down on the clay, but this isn't enough. And what I want to show you is now we have the very thick portions of our lace design, and the smaller strands that connect the large details with other details in the lace form bridges on the clay. They actually are not in contact with the clay, but they're bridging, and they're actually suspended in air. This isn't good. If we don't get those smaller strands to lay on the clay, the silicone plastique that we're going to use to make the mold is going to actually envelop that strand, and it's going to become mechanically locked in the cured mold, and we don't want that. So what I do is I concentrate on the heavier parts of this lace pattern, and I do push them farther down into the clay. Now there's a difference between pushing these designs down so that they're actually flush and level with the clay, and just pushing so that they penetrate the clay just enough so that the smaller strands of or string or threads are actually laying on the clay. So as you push down, the entire portion of the lace is embedding farther into the clay, and it brings the smaller strands with it. This is how you ensure that you have 100% contact with the surface of the safety clay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut away the excess clay. And I do this by using a needle tool. You can use an X-Acto knife, but you know, trying to draw a blade and aiming around this very, very fancy border is kind of hard to do. And I find that a needle tool works very, very well when changing directions and cutting. So I'm going to actually place my needle tool. I'm not going to go all the way through the clay. I'm just going to go halfway through, and I'm going to use the lace as a template. And I'm going to just score one halfway through the safety clay with my needle tool. Now, if you don't have a needle tool, a shish kebab skewer works pretty good. And I just am going to score right through. Now, safety clay is available at makeyourownmolds.com. In fact, all the materials that you see me use are available from makeyourownmolds.com, and we specialize in food-grade silicone mold-making materials. Now, as you can see, I'm making my second pass, and I am actually pushing my needle tool straight through all the way to my workboard. And I want you to notice that my tool is straight up at 90 degrees. I am not angling it in any different directions. I'm keeping it straight up as I cut through the clay. Now, once I've cut all the way around, I can simply lift up a corner of my safety clay and pull it off. This is reusable. It's nice to just put it in a piece of Tupperware or wrap it in plastic. You can use it for future projects. Now, the first thing I want to do is making the cut around the lace. You can actually loosen the lace from the clay. So I take a moment to push the perimeter of the lace back down so I'm sure that I got good contact with the safety clay. And I'm also going to take the time to just go over this border and make it really nice. Running the tool over it one more time really takes away some of the jagged lines and gives you smooth sides, and that's just going to make a better mold. So now we have a thickened piece of lace. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. It has perfect contact with the top of the clay, and we can make a mold of this now. So now we're going to move on to the next step.